All right, if you've ever used an AI image generator to tell a story, you've probably felt this very, very specific kind of frustration. You know the one. You spend all this time crafting the perfect character, you get the look just right, and then, boof, they're gone. Today, we are diving into why that happens and a brilliant new paper that might have just solved the whole problem.
I mean, it's this exact thing, right? You have this fantastic character in your head, you describe them, and the AI just nails it. It's amazing. But then you try to put them in a new scene, a new adventure, and the magic just vanishes. It feels like the AI has a serious case of amnesia.
And this slide just shows the problem perfectly. On the left, we've got our hero, a superhero cat. Awesome. On the right, we ask for the same character, but now in a garden. Or is it? I mean, come on, they look like two completely different cats. This is the AI's identity crisis, and it's what we're here to solve.
So let's really get into this identity crisis, because before we can talk about the solution, we have to understand what's actually going wrong under the hood.
Okay, so here's the fundamental reason this happens. Every single time you give an AI a new prompt, it's like you're starting a brand new conversation from scratch. It has absolutely no memory of what you just said. Each prompt exists in its own little separate world. The AI isn't building on the last image. It's starting over, fresh, every single time. So this slide really lays out the two different ways of thinking about it. The old way, over on the left, is giving the AI separate requests for each scene, which, as we now know, just doesn't work. But the researchers behind a paper called One Prompt, One Story had this clever new idea. They thought, what if, instead of telling the story piece by piece, we just gave the AI the entire script all at once?
And that simple idea, one prompt, one story, is the key to everything. By putting the whole story into a single massive prompt, they managed to tap into this powerful and kind of overlooked ability of the AI's language brain.
This ability is called context consistency, and it's something we humans do without even thinking about it, right? If I start telling you a story about a dog and then I keep saying the dog, you instinctively know I'm talking about the same dog. Well, it turns out AI language models can do this too, as long as it's all in one continuous block of text.
This quote from the paper just makes it crystal clear. When you read this sentence, there's zero confusion. You know it's the same dog. So the researchers realized that this natural language understanding could be the secret to visual consistency. They just had to figure out how to make the image generator pay attention.
Of course, it's never quite that easy. When you give an AI a giant prompt that has 5 different scenes in it, it gets confused. It tries to draw everything at once, creating this messy blend of all the ideas, like a weird visual smoothie of your entire story. So the character might be consistent, but the background is a total mess.
So they needed a way to untangle all this information. This next part is really the secret sauce. It's how they made this whole one prompt idea actually work in practice.
They developed this really elegant 3-step process. First, they consolidate everything into that one master prompt we talked about. Second, and this is the super clever part, they focus. They use some advanced techniques to tell the AI, okay, for this image, I want you to focus only on this one scene and suppress all the others. It's like shining a spotlight on one part of the story while dimming the rest. And third, throughout the entire process, they remind the AI, using another trick to constantly reinforce the character's core identity, making sure it never ever drifts.
So, the big question, does it actually work? Well, the proof is in the pixels, as they say. Let's take a look at the results.
Let's just look at a side-by-side comparison. On the left, you have an existing method called PhotoMaker trying to keep the character consistent. It starts as this blue dragon, but then becomes a completely different green one. The identity is totally lost. Now, look at the images on the right, made with the one prompt, one story method. Our green dragon stays our green dragon. The consistency is just incredible.
Okay, and here's another comparison that I think is even more telling. On the left, there's a method called consistory. It gets the character right. Hey, it's the same dragon. But look closely. The prompt asked for a dragon splashing in a lake, and instead we got one flying through a rainbow. So it kept the character, but it completely ignored the story. Now on the right, one prompt, one story absolutely nails both. We get the same character and the right action. Perfect.
And the data confirms what our eyes are telling us. This table compares the methods on 2 really key metrics. For text alignment, which is just how well the image matches the prompt, one prompt, one story scores higher, which is exactly what we want. Then for identity similarity, which measures the difference between characters, it scores lower. And a lower score is better here, meaning the characters are more similar. It's a clear win on both fronts.
But, the ultimate test is always what real people think. So when users were asked to just pick the best overall image set from a bunch of different methods, the results were, well, they were pretty clear. As you can see from this chart, One Prompt One Story was the overwhelming favorite, chosen by nearly half of all the participants.
So what does all this mean? This is so much more than just a clever technical trick. This breakthrough could unlock a whole new future for visual storytelling with AI. I mean, really think about it. This could completely revolutionize animation and comics, letting creators generate consistent storyboards in seconds. You could create personalized children's books, where your own kid is the main character, looking the same on every single page. For game developers, this means creating consistent assets just got a whole lot easier. This is even a huge step toward creating consistent AI-generated video and truly interactive stories.
And what's more, this whole technique is super flexible. You can combine it with other powerful AI tools. In this example, it's being used with ControlNet to create our consistent dog character, but in very specific, controlled poses. The possibilities are really just starting to unfold here.
For so long, this AI forgetfulness has been a major barrier, a huge roadblock. But with that barrier now crumbling down, it leaves us with one very, very exciting question. Now that the AI can finally remember, what incredible new stories are we going to ask it to tell?